And so had that job. No. So I had that job.
This is not a complete thought.
Stop it.
My buddy, my friend, just need to know our friendship won't end. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy.
Hello and welcome to Girls Who Came to Sugar Bakers, where nerds and platonic life partners Erin and Leslie watch episodes of Designing Women, then recap, review, and share other fun things related to the show. I'm Leslie.
And I'm Erin. How you doing?
What's up? I'm okay. How are you?
Oh, I guess I'm doing all right. It's all hot.
It's so hot. It's only May.
But you know what's weird? It's been
summer.
really mild, so I feel like it's gonna be chill again, right? Like it's gonna be like less hot than this.
I hope so.
I think so.
We actually had a spring, which was pleasant.
Yeah, I was surprised because I was like, hasn't it been like 90 in like April here?
Yeah, it's usually like 2 days of spring and then summer.
Remember when I would didn't I come last June for the funeral, and it was actually like I brought nice weather for a minute.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
It was so hot, and then when I was here, it was just a little less hot. So
yeah, it was nice.
Maybe that'll happen again, I guess.
I hope so.
Just calm down. There's something. Yeah, there's like a tropical storm or whatever.
Yep. So it's supposed to get a little cooler for a couple days next week, I think.
Yeah. So I guess I could just jump in and to ask you what you've been doing at the DMV with Charlene. You want to do that?
Oh yeah. I have been reading comics, including What's in Future Volume 1, which is kind of an Arthur retelling.
You said it's zombies?
The premise. Yeah, so like there's cycles. There are different Arthurs and there are different cycles. Okay. And this cycle they, go and like resurrect him, and so basically he's a zombie. And so there are different it's very complicated. I lost the thread a couple times because it's like reincarnation after reincarnation after reincarnation, so it gets a little bastardized as it's supposed to, because that's the point.
Okay.
But it's still really good, and I hope they're doing more.
Because
they kind of left it open for more. And I read the final volume of Paper Girls today, and I'm sad to see it end. But
is that the end? Is volume 6 the end? 6
yeah, 6 is the end.
Oh crap. Okay.
Yeah.
I never started it, and so
good.
I saw that one, and I was like, oh gosh, I gotta like get on it. And
it's done now, so you don't have to wait.
Oh no. Okay.
And I'm reading Hench by Natalie, Zina, Walschots.
Okay.
Well, I hope I didn't mess that name up. It's not out yet. I don't know when it comes out. But it's really good so far. It's long. It's like 400 pages.
Wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry. Is that a graphic novel?
No, it's a book.
Oh, okay. I was like, how? Okay, gotcha. So it's a regular book.
It's just a regular book, and it's about a woman who is a temp employee for supervillains.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool.
So there's a lot, like she gets pretty early in the book, she gets like decimated by a superhero, and like it shatters her entire leg and all this stuff, and that kind of leads her down a rabbit hole that I think is kind of gonna make her like an anti-hero that may be kind of against heroes and villains. I'm not sure. I'm only about 100 pages in so far.
Jeez.
But it's really good, and it's taking me a while because I really like it, so I'm not skimming any of it.
Oh.
So we'll see where it goes.
You. Yeah.
But I like it. And I've been watching Betty on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
It's about skateboarding chicks, ladies, women's, and their adventures in New York. And it's really cute. There's only 3 episodes so far. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. And it's there's only 3 episodes so far, so I'm caught up and I'm watching it in real time, which I haven't done with a show. And
does not happen
ever, and like I haven't lost the thread yet because there's only 3 episodes so far, so that's nice. And I watched Paradise Hills last night.
Oh yeah. You like that?
Which is a movie with Mila Jovovich and Emma Roberts and Awkwafina and a few other people. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away, but it's very weird. It gives me like Alice in Wonderland vibes, but like even weirder, meets like something else that I can't say because that's kind of spoilery.
Oh, okay.
Meets like, I don't know, like futuristic YA fantasy novel. Like it really has that feel, but it's original. Like the screenplay is original. It's not based on anything else. But there are like elements of other things in it, and so I really enjoyed it. I found it on Canopy. I think it's on Showtime, and it's probably available to rent on other platforms. Sunny, if you don't stop licking my feet.
Oh no.
She's been asleep all day, and then I start doing stuff, and she's like,
and
nope.
She's like, feets. I'm gonna get them. That's
sorry, that was a lot. I'm done.
Oh no, I think it's great.
There's no don't step on the keyboard. Nope. No.
Sunny.
Nope.
She's a cat.
Sorry, what have you been doing
She
with
has to
Charlene
do
at the DMV? Oh gosh,
So
she's gonna mess up this recording.
Oh no. Here, I'll talk and you just mess with her.
Okay.
Sunny, don't do it. Oh, don't do it.
Oh, don't do it. Just don't step on the keyboard.
Just don't.
Okay.
You don't have to.
Sorry.
You can be distracted if you want. Oh God. So the first thing is that my brother and I finished our first game.
Yay!
Remember that we've never done like 100% because my brother, like, I don't remember how many years ago now. It's maybe 4 or something, maybe longer than that. It's got to be longer than that. He started being like, I'm just going to teach you. Oh God, it was when we got a Wii, so it must have been way longer than that. He's like, let's start like playing video games. You've never really I had never really played them. I'd done like computer games because I just didn't have the right, like, I just don't trust my hand-eye coordination for it. And I'm not able to really like understand like physical worlds that I'm not in. So I would just like fall off of stuff constantly. And like, it was just an absolute mess. So he's been like, playing video games with me. It became a whole thing it may have even been 7 years ago. I don't know. And we got to, in the Lego Marvel Avengers game, we were getting like close to 100. I think it was maybe, I think we're up at like 70% or 80%. And he's like, you know what? We're in a damn quarantine. Let's do it. Let's like finish a game because we never had. So that's what we did. We spent time, particularly this week, like just really, and also it's not on a Wii anymore. It's on like an actual Xbox with like multiple buttons. So I've like learned how to actually play a video game. To an extent. I mean, it's like a Lego one, so I guess it's not as hard as some of the other ones. But actually, there are some like really hard things, so I'm not going to downplay it. But we finished that yesterday, so that was fun. And then I also have been. What have I been doing? I was watching the Aurora Teagarden. Mysteries.
What is that?
That's what I was watching. Leslie even like let us tape a little later today because I was like, I am watching these like Hallmark mysteries movies. They have like a new one that's like premiering tonight, and so and within this one, like there is like a love interest that's gonna like propose or whatever is like the big thing about this movie. And so my mom and I decided, we had just started watching this series like a week or two ago, and then we were just like last night, like, you know what, why don't we watch all the ones from when she meets this particular dude, so that I can just actually watch it and like know what's happening or whatever. And because it's Hallmark, because there's usually some kind of romance involved with Hallmark. That's kind of the thing. There's yet to be one I've seen where there's not a romance, but I only like the movies where there's like other stuff going on too. I can't have just that. And I like the Aurora Teagarden mysteries. They're the books are written by Charlene Harris, who also wrote the True Blood series. Was it Dead Until Dark and etc. series. And the main character is a librarian who's just obsessed with like, I think I just found out in like one of the movies today that her degree is in like is it true crime or like mystery or something like that is what her like focus was when she was getting her master's degree of library science. Well, that's not exactly how it works though, right? Well, I guess
No.
it is, because you're doing like,
Well, I guess some places
you can decide a focus to an extent that's not just that's a focus that's not really about, that's about type of literature versus a part of library. You know what I mean?
I
don't
know.
about
I would
that.
love to do that instead.
Right. Yeah,
Can
exactly.
I do that?
Yeah. So maybe it's not exactly accurate. Because it was a bit of a throwaway talk. Like that someone just like threw that in there. Maybe she ended up doing some kind of thesis or something. I have no idea. Look, maybe that part doesn't hold water. But she does have this like side project of like the Real Murders Club that she has, and of course it's a little bit like Murder, She Wrote, where Jessica Fletcher is the character's name. Wherever she ends up, conveniently there's a murder, and there's so many jokes and conspiracy theories that she's the murderer. So it's a little bit like that. Like she's got this murder club, and then surprisingly there always ends up being like a murder with this club. Usually around her, not so much the club members, but sometimes the club members. So it's cheesy, but it's like right up my alley right now. Being stuck in the DMV with Charlene, stuck in quarantine, like it's just what I need basically. So I've been
mainlining Dance Moms, so
right?
It's fine.
See, yeah, exactly. So I did that, and then what else? I don't think I haven't been able to stick to one book lately. I've been just kind of just all over the place. It's being a little ADD about that. So, and I'm still watching like Critical Role because there are 99 episodes of it. So
that's a lot.
In the second campaign, I guess there's just as many in the first campaign, and they're 3 to 4 hours each. I don't know how. It's impossible. These people are incredible that they did that much content. It's actually crazy. So I guess I got that going, but really just the game and the mysteries I was watching today. They're like my favorite. Those are like the new things, I guess. I didn't do very much, huh? I feel like I'm missing something, but
quarantine.
Yeah, it's quarantine. I guess. I did a lot more just like stuff this week. Like I got like financial stuff done, and like I guess that counts. Like that. Oh, wait, did I do something cool that I was excited about? No, I can't remember. No. I just did like getting my life together stuff, but excuse me. I'm drinking some seltzer that some nice lady gave me that I actually like. You're like, it's too much.
Good.
And for some reason, I like it. I don't know why.
Yay.
So, yeah, not your loss is my gain. I don't like that. But I mean,
no,
like,
I'm glad that it's like being enjoyed. That's what it's
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. 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 Making sure I drink that water. Hydrate. I've noticed that I don't like sleeping, eating, drinking is all off.
Yeah.
Which is just weird. I'm kind of like, oh, whoops, I'm going to eat. I get like, I was hungry earlier. Mom's like, okay, have some food. I was like, ugh, it's not worth it. The effort. I don't care what I need fuel for. It was like just malaise. Ridiculous. There was someone who had a meme that was like, now I understand what all those like paintings of people just laying around half naked on their couch were about. That's like what we're doing, because I didn't have anything to do. Yeah, whatever. Do you want to talk about the episode, I guess?
Yeah, what did we watch this week?
You sound like I'm so ridiculous. I know.
No, I'm just foggy.
Oh, babe, I know. It's that heat.
It's the heat.
It's not the heat. It's the humidity. No, it's the heat.
It's the heat and the humidity. By
both.
Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, 100% humidity.
Wait, is it just going to rain? Isn't that what 100%
Yeah.
is?
It's just going to rain.
Like, isn't that just a storm?
But I guess even when the rain is not falling from the sky, it just is going to be hanging out in the atmosphere.
That's the thing.
And
yeah, people don't understand.
no one's going to be able to breathe.
Like. I wonder what it was like. Excuse me, I was drinking. Probably had a lot of mouth sounds on that. Sorry, everybody. I actually don't like swallow sounds. Those are the ones that get me. I'm like, is something wrong with your throat? That's what I think I have that, I can't remember. That's like it's not mesothelioma. That's the thing that they always talk about on the like lawyers, but like it's like meso something where like sounds of eating and like mouths just like are like nails on a chalkboard for you. That's me. But it's more, it's more like throat sounds. I'm like, get out of here with that. What is wrong with you? I'm like the worst.
Get out.
Get out. Sorry, I will get back to the episode. So this week we watched season 6, episode 21, LA Story. Oh wait, hold on. One more shout out that I just remembered. For that book that I'm listening to, that I told you about too. Called is it Gone at Midnight?
I think so.
Yeah, Gone at Midnight by Jake Anderson, because I had been listening to a lot of that actually yesterday before watching the episode, and I was like, ooh. I was just like, man, you know what? LA is just dangerous. Especially, I did not go downtown very much, if I'm honest. It kind of made me a little bit nervous. My friends said that it was when they were driving down there with me, they're like, well, it makes sense because they're really tall buildings, and this is a place that's quite earthquake prone, so you may feel like, because I said I felt claustrophobic. They're like, that makes sense. But also, like, a lot of murders happened in downtown LA over, like, famous ones over the years. So Gone at Midnight is about Elisa Lam and the Cecil Hotel that's now been renamed. And I've been listening to that leading up to this episode. And I was like, oh, too much LA. So the episode is called, excuse me. Oh, no. Pardon me. I was walking before this. I got some pollen. LA Story. I know, pollen. Awful. First aired March 23rd, 1992. And TV Guide reads, The Decorators Do Hollywood. Oh my God. Is that like Debbie Does Dallas? No, it's not. That's a porn name. The Decorators Do Hollywood and get flim-flammed on an expenses paid trip accompanying investor Allison to the set of her movie. Charles Nelson Riley plays himself. I think I saw him on an episode of like Match Game recently, because we have on our
funny.
My parents have like Dish network, I think, which I love because I'm able to watch so many things. And there's like Buzz Network is all the old shows, like game shows. In fact, I saw Alex Trebek do what was it, like Concentration or something before Jeopardy. I was like, oh my God, Trebek. But yeah, I think Charles Nelson Riley was on like a Match Game or something. And then Victor is played by Matt Landers. So there we go. Leslie, what happened in this episode?
So we start as usual, and it's the early 90s, so Allison comes in and asks if there's a fax for her.
Oh God, so funny.
And Julia says, nope, but do you have the estimate for that dining room? We needed it last night. And Allison says she did not do it last night. She was on a conference call about her film. And Mary Jo says, it's not your movie, is it? And she's like, film, Mary Jo, it's a film. Mary Jo's like, excuse me, isn't this just a little student film in which you have a small investment? And Allison says, my investment is not small. It's not a student film. And last night when I rehearsed my Oscar acceptance speech, I didn't thank you.
What would she win an Oscar for?
They don't have like a producing credit, do they? Like best producer, best money giver. I don't think that's a thing.
No.
And Julia says, you've already given them your money. Like, why do you need to talk to them on the phone? Mm-hmm. And Allison's like, oh, we were talking about lines and the script. And Julia says, well, the bottom line here is that we needed that estimate yesterday. Mm-hmm. And Allison's like, chill, Julia, chill. It's a Hollywood term. And Mary Jo says, you better watch out. Hollywood is a cesspool of low morals and plastic body parts.
Oh, my. I mean, realizing that they are recording in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed, too, that Mary Jo is strategically holding a magazine, like, over her midsection.
Yeah. See?
As usual,
pregnant.
she's, like, very strategically placed. She's like, I'm telling you, I picked up that book by Julia Phillips. You'll never eat lunch in this town again. And it was nasty. I had to take 2 showers after the first chapter. And Carlene says, yeah, I watch Entertainment Tonight, and I don't think those celebrities are sincere. And Allison says, I don't have a problem with insincerity. I'm sorry that you all think Hollywood is such a cesspool, because I just got called out to the coast, and I guess none of you want to come with me.
Oh, my God.
She's been called to the set of this movie. And Julia says, I've never heard of a movie where investors are called to the set. Usually your money will suffice. And Allison's like, well, that just shows how little you know about film. Investors are called to the set all the time, especially on these big budget art films. It's like the cast and the crew really appreciate it when investors who have a grasp on the craft show up. And she's like, it builds morale. And anyway, the producers want to reward my faith in them by letting me bring my friends to Hollywood on their dime. She's like, well, since I don't have any friends here, I'm inviting you. And Anthony comes out and says there was a fax that came to Allison with an itinerary. And he's like, Allison, are you going to Hollywood? And she's like, we're all going to Hollywood. Just to show you the players we're dealing with, he faxed this from his car. I had to rewind that like twice because I had no idea. Like, I had to piece together she was talking about car, because whatever comes out of her mouth to me did not sound like the word car. Like, faxed it, and I was like, he faxed it from where? He faxed it from what? I don't understand.
Oh, I don't remember. I wish I remembered exactly how she sounded so I could.
And then, because Mary Jo says it, like, we'll get to it, but like, she makes a joke, and that's when I figured it out.
But like, if you're also in the car, then that's not so great. I think that's crazy, a fax machine in the car. But I guess in a car. I mean, like, limos used to have that too, right? Like a whole setup.
Oh, I don't know. Did they?
But how did they? Because the phone. Well, I guess phones were already in cars. Huh. The logistics does not make sense to me.
No.
But it's fancy.
Which is like, yeah, it'll give y'all a chance to meet Alan Ebert and his wife, Helen. They're friends. Like, I was, he is my college roommate's brother, and he's a prominent producer. And Mary Jo says that she's never heard of him. And Allison says, of course you've never heard of him. You've probably also never heard of Zeffirelli or Kurosawa either. And Mary Jo's like, yes, Allison, I have heard of them. And for your information, they're directors, not producers. So why don't you put that in your car and fax it? And that's when I figured out she was talking about a car.
Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Is that?
Yep.
I didn't get that before. Yep. I did not think about it. That's funny.
And Allison says, for your information, Alan Ebert produced Cowboys in the Sand, which was a cowboy film noir. And of course, Dogs in the Sand, or Cowboys in the Sand too. Why did I write Dogs in the Sand? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? And Carlene says, I don't believe I've ever heard of that. Have you, Julia? And Julia says, why, yes, Carlene. It's a family classic we have treasured for years.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlene's like, Allison, what's your movie script about? And she corrects her again and says it's film, Carlene. It's a film script.
Look, I was going to ask you about that. Why do people say film instead of movie? Like, what's the actual difference? Why? Do you know?
I think it's just because they're pretentious.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's like a technical difference. We still call it film now, but it's not actually shot on film anymore. So it is just a movie now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yep.
So I don't know. I guess movie was probably like a nickname. It seems like, like talkie movie. But
yeah, okay,
I don't know. This is just me spitballing.
Okay.
And Carlene's she's explaining to Carlene that it is a film script about youth, alienation, forgiveness. It's a coming-of-age, fish-out-of-water buddy movie. And Anthony says, are there shower scenes? And Allison says, 2. And he says, count me in. Anthony. And Carlene's like, oh, we meet any stars? And Allison says, well, Brad Connor is the lead. And I'm wondering if that's supposed to be like Brad Pitt. Like their version of Brad Pitt. Or was Brad Connor like a real person?
Oh, gosh, you know what?
Because it seemed like they were creating like The Bold and the Beautiful, and then like So
he's
I don't know if
definitely
that's
not a real
person.
I think
Okay,
he was just
cool.
supposed to. Yeah, but like I don't think Brad Pitt was on like. Was he on soap operas?
I don't know.
I thought it was just a
But they
generic kind of soap opera-y dude that like
yeah,
only
it
certain
must
people
be.
would care about, right?
Yeah,
Like and care a
she
lot
says-
about because soap operas
Right.
are like involved, versus like not everyone would really care about, I guess.
yeah.
Oh, that's
And
kind of rude of
she
me,
says-
but
And Carlene's like, Brad Connor, he plays Angus, the illegitimate son of that Scottish industrialist on the show The Young and the Beautiful. Oh, Julia, you know who he is. Julia's like, no, I don't, Carlene. And Carlene says, he's got the best butt in Hollywood.
oh my god, I love
Julia
that.
says, thank you, Carlene. Now I'll
No,
know him when I
yeah,
see
I love
him.
that response. Like, oh my gosh, okay.
And Mary Jo's like, nope, I'm out. I'm tired. It's been a long week. I need to spend the weekend at home so Quint can ignore me. He's at that age. And Allison's like, oh, it'll be fun. Gee, there are a lot of other people I could have asked. And then they all stare at her like, really? No, they're not. And then she's like, well, my yard man expressed interest. And Julia says, I'd like to give up my ticket so your yard man can go.
Yep.
And Anthony's super excited. He's like, come on, Julia, how many all expenses paid trips to Hollywood do you get in one? Like, he's going to say, like, in one lifetime. And he's like, get in one. Wait, this is all expenses paid, right? And Allison's like, of course. And Anthony's like, good. And then he starts naming these relatives that he hasn't seen in years that he can go visit.
Mm-hmm.
And Allison's like, are you ready for the best part? We'll be staying at the director's house. And guess who the director is? And they're like, who? Charles Nelson Riley.
Nope.
And Carlene's like, whoa, from Match Game 76. And she's like, Allison's like, he's done other things. It doesn't all begin and end with Match
So
Game.
that was an actual Match Game he was on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot. Oh, funny.
There's
that's
also
funny.
that episode of Golden Girls where
Oh, yeah.
they're doing the benefit and the talent show, the one with Bob Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And like before she starts talking about Bob Hope, she talks about, or no, it's not that one. It's the Burt Reynolds one, because they're invited to a party
yes.
and she's talking about like
Yep.
all the people, and she's like, and Lonnie Anderson and this and Charles Nelson Riley, and they're just like, she's like, and Charles Nelson Riley, and they're just like, okay, Rose, like keep going.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
So it's either one of those. I don't remember if it's the Bob Hope or the Burt Reynolds one, but he's
Okay.
come up on that show as well.
That's funny.
And Carlene's like, I know he's done other things. I've seen him on Hollywood Squares. And Julia's like, well, he's a prestigious director. He's done theater as well as television. He did The Belle of Amherst on Broadway and the Grand Opera. But why would we stay with him?
Mm-hmm.
And Allison's like, well, because I'm paying his salary. He's sucking up. No, that's not.
It's very sketchy. Also, I would hate to like stay in someone's house I don't know.
Yeah, same. Unless it's
no.
like an
In
Airbnb
LA?
and they're not there.
Yeah, yeah, no.
And Anthony's like, ooh, I bet he's got a big old movie star house too. And Allison's like, of course he has a big old movie star house. What did you think? It would have a cabana in Tarzana? I'm sure he's got a pool and tennis courts and a huge staff of illegal aliens.
Oh dear.
Aliens. And Anthony says,
Don't you start.
I say let's load up the truck and move to Beverly. And then they all start singing
The Beverly
he and Carlene
Hillbillies.
start singing the Beverly Hillbillies theme song.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Hollywood. And
Oh,
everybody is on the lot at the studio.
Yeah.
And
Jumped
Carlene's
right
super
in.
excited of this luxurious movie set she never thought would be like this. And then she goes up to the craft services table and asks the guy if the stars drink from that coffee pot. And he's like, oh, yeah, you bet. And she's like, take my picture.
What in the
And
world?
Julia's like, do you realize you just got your picture taken with a coffee machine?
Yeah, like
And
what?
Carlene says, it's not a coffee machine, Julia. It's the coffee machine of Allison's film.
She was really cute about it. Just really
She was.
dorky.
Verishi triumphs? I don't know. She says it quickly. I don't know how that's spelled, but I guess that's true.
Oh.
And she wonders if they'll see Brad Connor, and the guy at the craft services table says, that guy's got some bad manners. He
Oops.
came up, took one bite of this donut. Sorry.
Uh-oh, here we
Put
go.
it right back down on the platter, walked away. And Carlene asks if she can have the
So
donut,
mad,
and then she
so
needs
mad
some
at this.
napkins because she has to wrap it up so it doesn't get mixed up with the dirt clods that they took from the front yard of the Psycho house earlier in the day.
Aww.
Literally has dirt in her purse. She's precious.
Yeah. She ain't
She's
got
like,
like a
I can't believe
Ziploc.
it.
She ain't got something to put
I know.
it in.
Gotta prepare. She's like, it's so exciting. I'm holding Brad Connor's donut. Aren't you glad we came, Julia? Julia's like, I wouldn't go that far. I think you and Mary Jo are getting a little carried away. Mary Jo says, excuse me, you were the one. Sorry.
Nope.
It never just happens once. You were the one who spotted Cher's parking space. Now that's something I can get behind.
I know. I got really excited about that. I thought it was just going to be more
like,
dumb people that I didn't really know that well in this episode. And they said Cher, and I was like, I'm on board.
Yes. Julia's like, that is correct. And I was willing to lie down in that parking space and have my picture taken. But it was not my idea to scrape those paint chips off of her name.
This is what you and I would be like if we ended up like doing we don't do anything like this at all ever, but like maybe you would be the one with like suddenly something would overtake you and you would lie down and take a picture with the parking space, but then I would have to up it and still paint chips. Like,
exactly. And it would be about like the silliest things, like it wouldn't be about normal tourist shit.
No,
we would like freak out over stuff that's just like random and like no one else would care about.
Yep.
And then Mary Jo,
keep going.
No, you're good. She gets a little giddy and she's like, she won't know where to park anymore because it doesn't say Cher anymore. It just says her.
Yeah.
That made me giggle. Allison comes back and she just spoke to the Ebert's personal assistant and they're going to try to squeeze them in with a meeting. For a meeting before their massage. And Carlene's like, yeah, they were really busy. Like, they were too busy to pick us up from the airport like they promised.
Oops.
And Allison's like, yeah, so we had to take a cab. What was so bad about that? And Carlene's like, nothing. But you did say we were going to get to ride in a limo. And Julia says, I can't believe in this city of 4 million cars, there was only one taxi. And I really can't believe that the driver would only allow the 4 of us in the cab. And Carlene's like, yeah, I sure hated to see Anthony get on that bus. Really? Y'all made Anthony take a bus?
Also, he should have just called his family.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Allison's like, oh, don't worry about him. His people fought long and hard for the right to ride on public transportation.
I cannot believe we went there.
That's really?
Yeah.
Okay. And Carlene's like, oh, I didn't mean to be insensitive.
Whoa.
Carlene's not the insensitive one here.
Whoa.
And Mary Jo says, oh, don't worry, Carlene, because Allison is the winner of the David Duke Sensitivity Award. And then Julia, like, sarcastically recaps their day and says she would really appreciate it if they could get where they're going because she's exhausted. And Allison says, nope. Speaking of exhausted, and Allison says, for someone getting an all expenses paid weekend in Hollywood, you sure are complaining a lot. And Julia says, yeah, well, I'll stop complaining when it becomes first class.
That's exactly what I said before she said it. I was like, how is this first class? They're just like, trying to figure out how to get from A to B and like, what is this? They're tired.
Like, you're not paying cash for this trip, but it's not like it's fun so far. And then this dude comes out and he says the Eberts apologize and they're sending a forget-me-not basket and tiny muffins, but they couldn't get the key to Charles Nelson Riley's house. But it's no problem. You just go around to the back and jiggle the French doors and then push really hard.
That doesn't seem right.
That sounds like breaking and entering to me.
Yeah.
And Allison says, now that's first class. No.
Is it?
Allison. It's definitely not. And then we cut to that night, and Carlene starts reading his bowling trophy and says they should put on their bathing suits and go get in the jacuzzi. Julia did not bring her bathing suit, and Carlene's like flabbergasted that she didn't bring her bathing suit. And Julia's like, well, if anyone would like to drive me to the airport, I'd be more than willing to fly home and get it. And Carlene's like, oh, that's too much trouble. You can just wear your underwear. And Allison keeps telling Carlene not to touch things. And Carlene's like, but when there's splendor, I want to touch it.
I love that splendor. So it's a very Carlene moment.
Yeah. Julia's ready for bed. And Allison's like, well, tomorrow morning I'll be in production meetings. All morning. Sorry.
No.
But they can take, like, y'all can take in the sights and maybe do one of those studio tours. And the doorbell rings and it's Anthony. Like, he's finally made it. And they're like, you finally made it. And Anthony's like, I appreciate it. I also really appreciated at the airport when you put both of your feet in the small of my back and shoved me out that car yelling, driver, step on it.
Wow. That is awful.
That's terrible. So he went to his uncle's house, and then Allison forgot to give him Charles Nelson Riley's address.
Oh, dear.
So they had to drive around for hours buying maps of the stars' homes, and then they had to buy 6 maps before they found one with his house, which I think is a dig at his celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's lucky that his aunt and uncle are very patient. They're his praying relatives.
Oh yeah, when he
And
comes
Mary
in,
Jo-
he's like, "I'll pray for you too." And I was like, "What happened?"
Yep. And Mary Jo's like, "What is that?" And Anthony's like, "Well, everything they do takes about 10 times longer than it ought to.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, they get on the freeway. They pull off to the side of the freeway and pray that the Lord protects them on the freeway. Then after they get off the freeway, they pull over and thank God for getting them through the freeway and then ask him to protect them on the side streets."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it covered.
And got it covered. And then Charles Nelson Riley himself comes out, and he seems pretty shocked that these people are in his house. Like, Allison is just talking and introducing herself and talking about the movie and introducing everybody else. And after all, he's like, "You seem like a lovely person, but like, who are you?"
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "Y'all got 30 seconds to get out of this house or I'm calling the police."
I knew with the jiggling of the handle and all that stuff, I was like,
Yep.
"This is not above board."
Nope. And then they explain to him the long process of how they got there. And then Anthony adds, "I was not if this is a breaking and entering situation,
Yep.
I was not part of any of this.
Nope.
And I have very holy people who can substantiate that."
Mm-hmm.
And then Allison explains that it was just a misunderstanding and she'll straighten it out with Alan Ebert. And Charles says, "Oh, you're a friend of Alan Ebert's?" And
Yep.
she's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Oh, then you're all going straight to jail."
What? That's bad.
And then they find out she's talking about being an investor, and he says he's also an investor in this movie. Like, that's why I'm directing, to recoup my investment.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks Allison how much she invested, and she says $25,000. And Carlene freaks out.
Ooh.
They all do, but like Carlene really freaks out.
That's too much.
And Julia's like, "You should get your money back." And Charles Nelson Riley says it's already been eaten up in pre-production. And Carlene says, "What's pre-production?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, it's like a nice oriental rug for their home in the hills,
God.
or a modern new kitchen." And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Let's face it, you've been fleeced."
Wow. Flim-flammed is what the TV guide said.
And then Mary Jo says, if we're just fleece, like, why would he fly us all out here? And he's like, "Well, Allison invested, and obviously they want her friends to become investors.
Mm-hmm.
And in a small town, like, y'all are innocent dupes." And Julia's like, "I beg your pardon." And he's like, "No, I mean that in the very best sense of the word, Miss Sugarbaker. May I call you Julia?" And she's like, "Yes."
Mm-hmm.
And so he asks when they're scheduled to go back, and they say Monday, and he's like, "No problem. You can stay here. It's fine. Just
That's
house
nice.
rules. I'm a light sleeper. No noise after 10 p.m. You can swim whenever you want, but please wear a bathing cap and no underwear in the whirlpool."
Oh, God.
And then Julia says, "Mr. Riley, this small town dupe certainly appreciates your generosity." And then Allison says, "I hate to break up this love fest, but tomorrow morning I'm marching straight down there and demanding my money back. And if I don't get it, I'm going to report them to some professional movie making organization."
Yeah, who?
And Carlene says, "Mr. Riley, I just have to tell you, I watch Hollywood Squares all the time. You're amazing. Your answers are so witty. You blew Charlie Weaver right out of the water." And he's flattered. And then we cut to the next day on the set. Allison is not going to get her money back, but she made a back-end deal on the video rights.
Ugh.
So I guess supposedly she's supposed to get a cut of some of those rights. And she's getting a producing credit, and she managed to give all of them speaking roles in this movie.
That sounds like a mess.
It does. And they're talking about how the writers were up all night, so they're going to have all these speaking parts. And she's like, "Did you see the writers? They look like they've just been let out on a weekend pass."
Mm-mm.
And Mary Jo says, "Let me tell you, I don't think it's Evian they're drinking out of those little bottles."
Oh, my.
And then Anthony comes up dressed like a biker and says, "Which one of you bitches gonna be my old lady?"
I didn't know what to do with this.
Julia freaks out. "Anthony!"
Yeah,
And
I
he's
mean,
like,
I
"No,
said
like-
the same thing.
Yeah, he's like, "That's my line." And they're
Mm.
like, "You got the script?" And like, he's like, "Yeah, haven't y'all?" And they're like, "No." And Mary Jo, you can tell that this outfit has also been tailored because she's sitting in a chair and it has like a bodice and stuff, but it's been tailored to like hide her stomach.
It's a big old skirt.
Yeah. And she's like, nope, they just put me in this outfit. And when he does this, and like she points like dramatically, I'm supposed to scream. I don't know why I'm supposed to scream. I'm just supposed to scream. And she does like the hand motion again.
Yeah.
And Anthony says, well, maybe you're supposed to scream because of my next line.
Uh-oh.
Hey, baby, daddy's got a joystick. And then he slaps his leg. And Julia freaks out again and like literally just walks away from him.
This isn't happening.
What is happening? Charles comes by and asks us if they've seen the script, and they're like, no. And he says, well, y'all can't be holding up production. I'm like, but whose fault is it? Like, they don't have the script. But he's like, it's your basic pillage and plundering scene.
Oh, God.
He's like, I want reality. I want honesty. I want cleavage.
Sounds like an awful movie.
Yeah. And Carlene asks if they're going to get to see Brad Connor, and he says no. The motorcycle gang beat him up with chains in yesterday's scene. I think he lives, but I haven't seen today's rewrite.
Oh.
And Allison says, I don't remember any of this from original scripts. Like, this was a sensitive, coming-of-age film set among the Amish. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the Amish ride motorcycles. And Carlene's like, yeah, I don't even think they use zippers. I can't see him on a Harley. It's a weird thing to say. And Charles is like, well, welcome to the rewrite. Like, we had to rework the whole thing for our foreign market. And what's popular in Turkey right now is sexy biker movies.
Oh, God.
And Carlene says, sexy biker film.
Yeah, say it
Allison's
right.
like, not now. And then the PA, Matt, comes by to deliver the scripts, and he tells Julia she is playing the town librarian and asks her to please put on this thong bikini. Also, he needs one of the ladies to get greased up and straddle the back of the hog over there.
Oh, dear. Greased
Julia's
up.
like, that's it. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Allison's like, look, film is a collaborative effort.
Oh,
I've worked very hard to get all of you speaking parts, and I think Alan Ebert has been enormously flexible. And Julie's like, Allison, you have no grasp of reality.
No.
You've been flim-flammed, bamboozled, and plain old ripped off. I think you should put on this thong bikini to good use and lash your friend Alan Ebert to that hog because he's making a big fool of you. And Allison's like, well, you're right. I'm a failure. Nothing I've ever tried to do has worked out. I just thought it would be fun for all of you to be in a movie, and it would make being suckered out of $25,000 a little less painful for me. I'm sorry. All right, you can all go home now. I'll straddle the hog. And she, like, starts to put the bikini on over the very long, like, jumpsuit that she's wearing.
Yeah. It's not going to work.
And Carlene's like, no, I don't want you to feel bad. This is the most fun I've ever had in my whole life.
That's true. You can tell.
She says, yes. I would be honored to wear the thong bikini, but what I really want to do is direct.
That cracked me up.
And Allison's like, really? I brought some joy into your miserable little existence?
Oh,
rude.
jeez.
And Mary Jo's like, yeah, I'm having fun too. Watching you lose $25,000 is about the most fun I've had in as long as I can remember.
Oh, dear.
And Allison's like, gee, thanks, Mary Jo. Why don't I just lie down here in the sand and y'all can trample me? And Mary Jo's like, I'm sorry, I was kidding. I am having a good time, even though I didn't get to straddle anything. I just get to sit here and scream.
Jeez.
And Anthony says, hey, Allison, I'm having a great time, too. And Julia's like, I can't believe this. Have y'all lost your minds?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been taken in by this Hollywood hype? Have you no dignity? Have you no pride? And then the director yells, places.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Jo's like, hold that thought. This is our scene. And they all go running. And Anthony's just saying his line over and over with different tones.
Yeah.
And then credits.
I was like, oh, okay. I guess we're done.
Abrupt. I guess that's
our
it.
morals are just right out the window. Okay. Gotcha.
Cool.
Did you have a favorite outfit?
I did. It was Anthony's biker outfit. Was that yours too?
No. It should have been. Leslie, would you like to describe this outfit?
I would. I have a picture pulled up right here.
Mm-hmm.
So he has on like a black t-shirt with the sleeves rolled up a couple of times, and he has on some silver cuffed bracelets on either wrist. He's wearing a dark denim jean jacket. He's got on a motorcycle cap and aviators. I'm sure his t-shirt under says something inappropriate, like there's something on there under it, or is like a skull or, something. And then he's got on black leather pants and leather black boots. And the screenshot that I took, he's sitting on the motorcycle.
The hat is what got me. I was like, why does he have this little tiny hat?
Yep.
What is going on? It's
what
amazing.
is happening?
Oh, man.
Did you have a favorite outfit?
I did. And I apologize to you earlier that I did have one last week and I totally forgot it until I was going to go edit stuff. But, so yeah, I did have one this week. It was, let me pull up my picture as well. It's, Julia's, like, lilac purple dress that she's wearing when they get to California. I just liked it. It has a lovely, interesting kind of neckline. It's a little bit almost like a keyhole kind of cut out, but it's fully the neckline. It's not like just a hole cut out. And it matches her lavender earrings, and it's really funny because she looks just very, I don't know, professional and like put together, and she is talking about everyone being crazy this whole time. So apart from when she lays down and shares parking space, but like, so it's kind of funny that she just seems very put together while everyone is a nut. So I appreciate that. And it's a lovely color. It's a very 1992 color. I'm pretty sure I had like a full outfit that was that kind of lilac.
Yes.
Pretty sure I did. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yep. So that's it.
It's a wacky episode.
It really was. They have to kind of balance, I guess.
Yep.
When we have serious ones and all that kind of stuff. Well, the last week was kind of serious because it's talking about, like what we're gonna say, like how it's unequal for like between the sexes and that kind of stuff. So what do we call it, like discrepancies? I don't remember however we say it. There's some term for this, right?
I'm sure there is.
When like girls get worse things than boys, basically. So this week we just needed some goofiness, I guess.
Yep.
I guess that's our episode. Leslie, where can people find us?
We are all over the internets.
Yep.
We are the Girls Who Came to Sugar Bakers on iTunes and our Podbean official site. We are Sugar Baker Girls on most social media, including Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook. If you like us, please take a moment to rate and review on iTunes or wherever you subscribe to our podcast. And please, tell your friends, write a review so we can get more people who listen to our antics. And speaking of people who listen to our antics, thank you for doing that today.
Yeah, thank you for listening and joining us. And we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
My body, my body, my body, my body.
Like she didn't even say anything. I was like, why are you being a nosy bitch? And also, why don't you know?
Also, you know the answer.
Like, I don't understand.